What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Browns Talk. This is a preview episode for the Browns Ravens game coming up here for week 14 on Monday night. It's our first primetime game here in a while, so we'll see how that goes. Big keys for this game going to be time of possession, stopping their inside run, and getting a lead on them. Baltimore doesn't seem to play super good from behind, and all their losses this year they've lost in time of possession by quite a bit. Those seem to be pretty consistent things that kind of put a hampering on them. Lamar is really good when he's got a lead and they can run and do their thing, but when they're playing from behind and they got to ask him to drop back a whole bunch and throw down the field, obviously that's not his strong suit in comparison to the running game. So no, I'm not trying to say Lamar can't throw or anything like that, but trying to put the entire game on his ability to throw the whole game is not how the Ravens win, obviously, if you've watched any Ravens games. Even with RG3 in, they were running the ball with designed runs to a dude who has a glass leg, because without that they're not the same team. We'll start with offense like we do usually. Ravens team has a really good secondary. That's the number one thing to be worried about. If they're dropping into the box and they're leaving just their secondary out there, we might be all right in the passing game there. Otherwise, we're probably going to struggle a little bit more than we did against Tennessee, I would imagine, if they're dropping guys in coverage and not loading the box. Now, the benefit of that is if they're not loading the box, they're going to pay for it. So it'll be interesting to see if they balance approach it or if they just load the box a lot and they try to put the game on Baker, which is what the Titans did. And newsflash, it didn't work super well, but we'll see what they do there. It's really hard to tell, especially after the way Baker played last week, what teams are going to do now. I think that now that he's had, 3 really good games this year, and before, the excuse was, well, it wasn't against a great team. Well, now he beat a potential playoff team, so, again, but he beat them in that was a Baker game, you know what I mean? So I think that might change things a little bit with how they approach us. Their D-line hasn't done as good as I thought it was going to do, especially with the additions they made in the offseason, and we've got a really good O-line. So after, all the progress they've made from week 1, we're going to hope our O-line holds up a lot better. I expect to have a better run game, and then that's going to open up Baker to take some shots. I hope he's not pulling some of the throws he did against Jacksonville or something where they're super tight, because, those were really good throws by him, but Marcus Peters is going to jump one of those every once in a while because he's a gambler, or like Marlon Humphreys might get one. So, I don't know. It's a scary game in that aspect that we haven't really been getting turnovers, and this might be one where if we're not careful, there could be some turnovers on our end. So we'll hope that doesn't happen, because that really kills us. And when we don't win in the turnover battle, we kind of get behind, and it's never a good thing. So I think the offense does a decent job. I think we mostly run a lot on them and use play action to just hit some big plays down the field when they're looking for the run. That's my ideal game plan, I think. We'll see what happens. The game plan against the Ravens in the first week was really bad. That was probably Kevin Stefanski's worst game of the year coaching. Even, we've lost 2 other games, but I would say that one was the worst coaching or game plan that I had seen all year, which it was his first game, so we'll hope we got a better plan for him this time and it goes better. Not having Hooper's going to stink, but hopefully Harrison Bryant can keep his hands on the damn ball this time, and Njoku and Carlson can kind of do their job and step up a little bit. We'll see what happens there, but I think we can put some points up on them for sure. I don't think it's going to be like last time at all. So on the defense, still no Denzel, which is horrible. We have a choice here, kind of load up in the back because we're down Denzel, or put more people on the D-line, or, stack the box kind of. I kind of hope they go with the 5 wide. The Ravens haven't really been able to run up the gut super well this year, and the 5 wide last week, inside running was not our super strong point. But the 5 wide last week seemed to let those guys in the middle have more of an opportunity to focus on stopping the inside run more because the line was so much wider. And with an extra person up there, it seems like that front worked really, really well against the Titans for us. And now, to be fair, there's tape on that, so it might not stop the Ravens as well, but I think it's worth a shot to at least try some of that, and if it's not working, you can stop doing it, but I personally think that that's a really good idea against the Ravens. We'll see what happens there. It does have the drawback of you're probably going to lose a linebacker, and that's most likely going to be Taki on most plays, who's good against the run, so he's not super great in pass coverage, but he's good against the run, so losing him against the Ravens on a lot of plays might come back to hurt you. It's hard to say. I think the benefits of the 5 wide line add up to more than that, though. I expect to see a really big game from Miles. They're down on a different tackle now. Miles historically always has good games against backup tackles for obvious reasons. And if we can just get one game where the refs aren't letting him be completely strangle-held the entire game, he's going to blow up. So we'll hope this is the game they finally call a holding against him and get them to back off a little bit and he blows up. Definitely be a good game for him to have a real big game again, because he hasn't had a super game here in a little while. He's been doing good, don't get me wrong, and he is the highest rated defensive lineman. It doesn't always show up in the numbers because of how much attention he gets and how little attention from the refs he gets, but he's still super well rated in PFF and stuff like that because of that. So we hope Miles shows up for us, maybe gets one of those fumbles. Definitely need him to pick up some sacks and get some pressure. I think our D-line has a good chance of doing that this week, especially the way they played last week. I think that they are kind of figuring things out a little bit better. They've gotten so much better as the year went on, and they were even doing it when Miles was out, and that's carried over now. You look at the last 5 games or whatever for Derrick Henry, 108 yards was the lowest he had gotten in a week, and we held him to 60-something, so I really think they're picking up steam as they go on, and I expect the D-line to have a good game again. I say load it up, do the 5 wide, 5-2, and then just have Mack Wilson and B.J. Goodson or B.J. Goodson and Malcolm Smith back there most of the time, and hope the secondary doesn't crumble apart. MJ Stewart had a pretty good game last week. He got him a pick and had like a really key pass breakup at one point. So good things from him. Mitch is good for he's not supposed to be in there starting. That's supposed to be a Grady spot. So Mitch has been doing good, and he's gotten a lot of practice this year, a lot of reps. Comfortable with him. The Ravens don't really have good receivers. The tight ends is more what you're worried about. So as long as you got B.J. Goodson and Malcolm Smith playing well and keeping a hold of Mark Andrews, or if you can throw, maybe a safety around that area of the field where he's in every once in a while to help them out, I think we do fine here on defense. I think we can really pose a threat of really shutting down the Ravens in comparison to how the earlier game in the year went. These teams are so much different now. Everybody thought the Ravens were going to be, there's the famous Colin Cowherd said they were going to be 16-0. Everybody thought they were going to win the division and that the Steelers and us would be fighting for the second spot. It's just, these teams are totally different than what they were at the beginning of the year. I think this game's going to be a lot different. I think it'll actually be a good game instead of the trouncing it was last time. We'll see how right I am. I'm going to have to, watch the game, get straight to bed, go to work early in the morning on Tuesday, so I won't be able to get a review video up until late Tuesday night or Wednesday afternoon, one of the two. So it'll be a little bit later this week. And in the meantime, I've been getting better. I got 2 highlight videos out this past week. The Baker Mayfield revenge one is doing really good. Go check that out if you haven't checked it out. People really are watching that a lot, and it's getting a really good response. So I'm really glad about that. I'm going to start trying to do one of those for every week going forward. Now, will the schedule always work out to where I get them done that week? No, like this week I got 2 done because I had a couple days off to do it. So they might not always happen on a weekly basis, but I do want to have one for every week for the rest of the season. So look for more of those. Like I said, Tuesday or Wednesday I'll have a review video up. Hopefully we will be 10-3 and then moving on to another primetime game against the Giants where I'm fairly confident we can win that one. So winning this one, then going into the Giants-Jets would give us a really good chance to have a huge run of wins right here. So this is an important one for sure. I will be up and watching with bated breath, as I'm sure most of you will. And I'll talk to you guys on Tuesday or Wednesday about how it went. Let's hope then we're 10-3 and we can all be super duper stoked and screaming and losing our minds. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. Go Browns.